Now, let's go hot takey a little bit here, right? Let's do a little bit of hot takiness. After that performance from Georgia on Saturday, I'm ready to tell you Georgia's going to win another national title this year. They're going to be the first team since Alabama to repeat and win the national championship this year. That was a complete domination and lots of different things. First off, number one thing we have to do is recognize how great that crowd was at Sanford Stadium. Not good, not pretty good, not loud. They were excellent. They were epic. They were louder than a jumbo jet airliner if it flew around inside the stadium. The crowd was into it. They were hyped and amped up. And this had been building all week. And Kirby had asked all week to get engaged in all of this. That crowd for Georgia was outstanding. Second thing is, they didn't let Tennessee get off early. What did we say last week? Haymaker, haymaker, haymaker. That's what they want to do. The three big plays that Hendon Hooker had a chance to make did not connect with his wide receivers. They survived that early rush, right? They want to come up tempo, 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 huck it, go, score, score. They weren't able to do that. And the Georgia secondary, Kelee Ringo in particular, if there was any doubt about whether or not he's a first-round NFL draft pick, he showed you on Saturday he's about to make a whole bunch of money in the NFL because he's a first-round corner. That was an excellent game plan, and Georgia showed you that no matter what the committee thinks, no matter what a BCS computer thinks, no matter what the Harris poll thinks, they're the best team in college football. Saturday, by the way, became Elimination Saturday in the world of college football. Clemson, bye-bye. Alabama, bye-bye. And most likely Georgia, if they don't stub their toe in the games. Look, with all due respect to Kentucky, they're going to beat Kentucky. I think this week going to Mississippi State is one of the games that might be probably the toughest on the schedule. Georgia Tech, first of all, doesn't count as an SEC game, but they ain't losing at Tech either. Look, the way the schedule plays out, Georgia's going to head to the SEC championship game. Tennessee's still in the mix, I think, for a playoff spot. But you look at Clemson getting blown out. You look at Alabama losing. Look at Tennessee losing. That hurts their chances. It was Elimination Saturday, not for the Bulldogs. And they came out and they showed, and what was it, 4 passes in the second half? What did we talk about? Can the Georgia run game make hay against Tennessee? Tennessee came in as the number 9 rushing defense in the country. I thought there was a little bit of fool's gold to that. Thought they played all right. I mean, once the weather conditions got bad and it bogged down, Georgia ran for 130 yards, only had the 1 touchdown and 3.5 yards per carry. But the Georgia running game was effective in what it needed to do. Helped eat up clock and eat up time. And I know the score says that it was 27-13. Tennessee got a junk touchdown late. Tennessee was never in that game after Georgia came out and pounded and pounded and pounded him. And the one thing I wonder about is after Tennessee had that kind of shanked punt, like a 30-something yard punt, right? And Georgia got the ball on the 37-yard line of Tennessee. And it was one play, huck it downfield, Ladd McConkey, touchdown. I wonder if Monken and Kirby would have dialed that play up a year or two ago. I don't think they would have. I think that's the trust and the faith in what Stetson has done and in those moments and what he can do that they trusted him to go out there and execute that play. And they did. And I thought that was the backbreaker, was 36 or whatever it was, yard punt. Georgia gets the ball at the Tennessee 37 and one play, whoop, touchdown. So I'm going to tell you right now, you look at the combination of offense and defense, Georgia's the best team in the country. Ohio State had their struggles over the weekend playing Northwestern in what was a ridiculous weather game, 50-mile-an-hour winds, where neither team scored a single point into the wind on Saturday. They struggled to beat Northwestern. Michigan beat Rutgers. That's like beating up your younger brother, when you're 15 and he's 3. Rutgers is awful. Georgia's the number 1 team in the nation. And they showed you. And think about this, by the way, too. For all the good that Michigan's done, when's the last time they lost? Oh, yeah, when they got rocked by Georgia. Think about all of the good that Oregon has done. They're in the mix for a playoff spot. When's the last time they lost? Oh, yeah, that's right. Mercedes-Benz against Georgia. Tennessee's had a great year, right? Maybe they're still in. Maybe they're not. When's the last time? Oh, yeah, Saturday to Georgia. So think about Michigan, Tennessee, Oregon, 3 teams that are still smack dab square in the middle of we can be a playoff team. Guess what they all have in common? The last time all 3 of those teams lost was to the University of Georgia. And by the way, the third to last time that Alabama lost was to the University of Georgia after they got beat by LSU on Saturday. The third loss that they've had, or second loss, I should say, since Georgia beat them in the national championship. So I think Georgia has delineated itself. I expect the committee is going to have them at number 1. There shouldn't be any doubt. There shouldn't be any doubt that Georgia showed you that they are the best. And I'm going to say this. They're the best coached football team in America right now. They are the best coached football team in America right now. Kirby's got it rocking and rolling. They have all the star power. Remember the questions about the Georgia secondary going into this year. Remember the questions about could they replace those guys. They came into that game with 10 sacks and had 7 in that game on Saturday. Every single question that you could have asked or thought about Georgia, they answered it on Saturday against Tennessee. That wasn't a good performance. That was a great performance. And I believe now, when you look at the field, you think Georgia can't beat Michigan? You think Georgia can't beat Ohio State? You think Georgia can't beat LSU? You think Georgia can't beat Oregon? You think Georgia can't beat TCU? I don't know what the betting odds, the betting lines, and all this, that, and the other. I don't know what all of those favorites are and this, that, and the other. But Georgia should be the favorite to win the national championship at this point. I don't care what their stats say. When you watch them on the field and you watch how they dictated that game, the way they blew out Oregon, the way they dictated that game. Well, but they struggled against Kent State. Who cares? When the spotlight gets turned on to Georgia and the moment is at its biggest and brightest, they always come through. And this is such a drastic, and I hate to say it this way, and I know it's going to sound bad, but the way that this program looks under Kirby Smart versus the way that they looked in the last few years under Mark Richt is drastic. It's stark. So all the questions that Georgia had, secondary, pass rush, this, that, NFL talent being replaced, what's their trust in their offense, all of these things, check, 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 check. They're checking off and marking off everything one by one. It's an amazing accomplishment. The Georgia Bulldogs are not only the best team in the country right now, I'm telling you, they're going to repeat as national champion. And I know they still got games to play, an SEC title game and all that, but I do firmly believe right now, if you give me Georgia or the field, I'll take Georgia right now because they've earned the trust of being the best team in the country in the biggest and best moments. All right, we'll remind you, we thank you for making Hittin' Hard with Jon Chuckery your first listen. Don't forget, your second listen should be Locked On Sports Today. Check out that podcast, the biggest stories of the day, instant reactions, big game recaps, and the take of the day as well. Locked On Sports Today is available on the Odyssey app. They have their YouTube page, free and available on all of your favorite platforms. Check them out today after you've listened to us.